What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to Soulsborne Academy. Take your seat and don't mind the hunter near the door. He's just there for your protection. In today's video of Soulsborne Academy, we're going to be discussing Gehrman and the psychology behind him. And if someone has already come up with this, please link their video down in the comments below, because I want to know. I was thinking about this character so much lately with me going through and trying to platinum Bloodborne. There's something that stood out to me with Gehrman as a character and as a whole. And it's something that I haven't seen, so that's why I say, you know, if someone else has said this, please, by all means, link their video down below. I want to be able to give them credit. Gehrman, I feel he is the start of what the nightmare is and what the dream is for the hunter. A dream you can never die, a dream you can never really hurt yourself, you can never break bones, you can never scream, you can't do really anything that will physically hurt you in the waking world. That's why a mechanic that is heavily utilized with dying over and over and over again is utilized quite nicely within this game, because that dying over and over again is waking up in what the real world would be. Technically the dream, but not the dream. It's so philosophical, the entire game, because you have the real world that you're fighting all these beasts. Real world that you're fighting all these beasts in, but then you have the dream world where it's your safe haven, it's your comfort zone, it's the place where Gehrman and the doll, who's based off of Lady Maria, is, and they wait for you there, and you get to buff up your stats and do all the things that make you stronger in order to go into what the nightmare is. It's basically a philosophical way of saying you have to become stronger in order to face your fears. But with Gehrman, I found him very interesting because Gehrman is one of the first NPCs that you meet in Bloodborne. I do have to say, we do meet a doctor at the very first part that technically turns us into a hunter, but one of the first ones that we meet is Gehrman. Now, Gehrman was one of the first Yarnamites, I want to call it, is the plural of people who live in Yarnam, to take notice of the beast and the scourge, which is how he, in a sense, became the first hunter, and we'll go into how he became basically the guardian of the dream. I feel like it's also really important to note that one of his apprentices was Lady Maria, and that's why he copied her to look like, you know, the doll, because she was just so important to him. Now, my interpretation of the plague, whenever I look at lore and whenever I look at tidbits about Bloodborne, I look at the plague as like a spreading of a nightmare, a spreading of a really bad mental, but a really bad mindset, if you will. Why do you think we fight the amygdala? We're fighting our own brains. We're fighting a scourge that is within our own mind. It has nothing to do with like a literal actual scourge, a literal actual plague. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the fact that we're fighting within our own mindset. Now, it's important to note here, and this is something that I looked up before, as the hunt dragged on and hundreds of hunters came and went, Gehrman realized that he was bound to the dream and could never escape it. In his sleep, he pleads to Master William and Lawrence to free him from the dream. So he's basically just a prisoner in his own mind. He realized that he was actually bound to the dream by Master Willem and Lawrence. It was really interesting to read about that, because it sounds like, in a sense, that he was bound to something of his own creation in his own mind, which is fascinating. And it makes more sense that he offers the hunter freedom. At the very end of the game, he offers them freedom and to return to the waking world, something that he's always wanted but was never able to have. Now, that was the first ending that I got, was where you return to the waking world and you basically become, you know, you're just in the normal world again. He uses his scythe to behead the player's character, and then that's it. You know, he's basically like jolting the player awake out of a bad nightmare. Now, there was one quote that really stood out to me that Gehrman said, and this is, accept or refuse his request at the end of the game. Dear, oh dear, what was it? The hunt, the blood, or the horrible dream? It doesn't matter. It all comes down to the hunter's helper to clean up after these sort of messes. Tonight, Gehrman joins the hunt. It was kind of like that quote from Einstein. What was it? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's the same thing that we have here. Because all of the people that he had so relied on betrayed him at the end of the day. So he was just left basically a rotting corpse in his own mind. And that's what I find so fascinating about this game, is because it started all with you know, having this contract to build a dream for the hunters. That way they could have this safe haven to go out into the nightmare and hunt monsters. But we're going to be going over some lore in the next episode of Soulsborne Academy with some Lady Maria. We're going to do the same for Lawrence. We're going to do the same for so many different characters in this game. And just as a heads up, at the beginning of next month starts my re-playthrough of Bloodborne, so I can show you guys how to go about fighting each boss. Most of them can be parried, some of them not, but this is going to be so much fun to get to, in a sense, replay the game with you guys again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every day here on YouTube. May you find your worth here in the waking world, dear hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.